Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tim. This is another Real Ideal Gear review, and today we're looking at a fantastic San Martin watch, the SN0129. This is a watch that I absolutely love. There's a story behind this watch because this watch, it's actually the second watch of this model that I've owned in probably the last 2 months, 2.5 months. We'll get into that story in just a little bit, but this is a watch that I really think does a great job. It is a fantastic colored dial. It has texture. It has a sport watch vibe to it that is outstanding. Very well done. The workmanship on this watch is great, and it's a great deal. So let's go through the 5 things we typically go through: size, fitment, finish, accuracy, and then legibility and lume. Now for size, it's a 39 millimeter diameter case, so it's a great size for just about any wrist out there, except for the extra large wrists. It may still be in a little bit of the small side. It's also 13 millimeters high off the wrist, so it's kind of a chunkier watch if you ask me, especially for a sport watch. But I'm okay with it because overall the whole design features of this watch really kind of, you just don't think about it too much because there's just so much going on with this watch. Now, as far as the fitment goes, you have screw-in links. You have a great adjust on the fly clasp. So the overall fitment of this watch is fantastic. And again, the classic San Martin finish, I'm not going to get into it. It's a great finishing job. There's a lot of brush on here. There's also some polishing on the chamfered edges of the case, of the bezel. Just a great mixture of polish and brushed finishing on this watch. Also, the crown is the perfect size. It has a little bit of grip texture on it, which is great. There are some crown guards on here, so it makes it just a little bit tougher to grab a hold of, get a good purchase on the crown. But I think it's fine. It works great. I've had worse watches than this. It works fine. Now, overall, I love the look of this watch. This is where this watch is outstanding. So the finish of this watch, if you look at the dial is incredible. It has kind of that wavy desert, and now I have the Adage Dive. I'll put a picture up here of that. The Adage Dive, the desert sand look. But this is this deep red, this very crimson-like red. That's a Fume dial that kind of gets darker out on the edges, almost a black finish out towards the minute track. I absolutely love the color of this dial. Now, the hour markers on here are great. One thing I wish it had a little bit better markings on here was a little bit more distinction between the 12 o'clock hour marker and the other hour markers on here as well. So for me, it's just not quite distinct enough between those. But I do love the handset on here. The handset is good. The hour hand isn't quite as differentiated as the minute hand. Again, another thing that I'm not totally sold on. But the second hand, again, a little splash of red on that end of the second hand. Because remember, the second hand is over that Fume part of the dial where it's darker. So the red actually pops out just a little bit. So you don't lose track of the red on top of the red. It's actually over the black or the darker section of the dial. Now, the date window is great. Classic white dial. Date window on the inside of that frame, which to me is fine. And you have the San Martin logo at the top, and you have 100 meters of water resistance overall for this watch. Great looking watch. I absolutely love it. I love the polish and the brush on here, the combination of everything. You have an AR coating, sapphire crystal. This is an outstanding looking watch. I absolutely love this. Now, what's the story behind this? Well, my son plays hockey. My stepson plays hockey. My youngest stepson just started playing for the JV team here locally, and their colors are red. And so I was like, his older brother, I gave him a red dive watch for when they dress out for home games. And so I saw this watch. I was like, I have to give him this watch because this is part of the colors that they wear. So I gave him this watch, and after I gave it to him, I was like, man, I really like the color of that watch. So I went out and bought another one. So yeah, this is a watch that's going to stay in the collection for a long time. It has a great look to it, great finishing, on the fly adjustable clasp. So when it comes to fitting this watch to your wrist, it does a great job. You can adjust it during the day when your wrist gets a little bit more swollen because of heat or activity, or when you sit down and it's cool out and your wrist shrinks a little bit. It's something that you can adjust on the fly. So I think it's great that way. Milled clasp. Everything on this is quality, and you just can't beat the quality of a San Martin when it comes to the finishing, the materials that are used. Just a fantastic looking watch. Now, overall, what's the legibility of this watch? It's outstanding. You cannot get the Fume coloring on the outside edge around the kind of the minute track or the outside edge of the dial really contrasts well with the hour indices or the hour markers on this watch. And the handset is good. I wish the hour hand was a little more differentiated, but it's still easy enough to read. The hour hand and the minute hand are very different as far as length goes. Sometimes the minute hand isn't quite long enough, but this one is definitely long enough where it differentiates it from the hour hand. So I can see this without my glasses and things are a little bit more blurry. I can still tell the time very easily. I can also read the date down here, so the date window is just fine. It's perfect. Great size. So legibility for this watch is outstanding. Now, what about the Lume? Well, it's San Martin Lume, and typically San Martin Lume is really good. This isn't quite as good as I was hoping for, but at the same time, it's a sport watch. So yeah, it's above average for sure, but it's not the best San Martin Lume that's out there because there's just not a lot of it on this watch. And so for me, it was okay. What are the conclusions of this watch? This is definitely a watch that you can wear for casual occasions. You can wear this for formal occasions. Because of the color on here, you have to be kind of careful with what you're wearing this with. But if you're going black and white with a little bit of red accents, you definitely want to wear a watch like this. It is outstanding. It's a sport watch, so it lends itself to kind of more of that formal situation where a dive watch may not. So I think the wearability of this watch is great. You're going to be able to wear this under a lot of different circumstances. Sapphire crystal, a lot of brushed steel on here, so scratches are not going to be a huge issue on it. And you also have enough polish on here to really make this watch step out and look really nice overall. So the overall score for this watch is a 9.9 out of 10. It misses a little bit on the hour hand and the minute hand not being quite differentiated enough. I wish the hour hand was maybe a little bit wider, a little bit thicker than the minute hand. That's something that I'm kind of a stickler on that. And then also the hour markers. I wish the 12 o'clock hour marker was just a little bit wider than the rest of them, just to make it stand out a little bit more. So overall, 9.9 out of 10, nothing big. Great watch, great buy, absolutely killer dial. I love this watch. This watch will be around in my collection for a very long time. So there you go, 9.9 out of 10. Put your comments down below. What do you think of this San Martin compared to other reviews out there, compared to other San Martin sport watches that are out there? I think this is probably the best sport watch that San Martin has put together to date. That I've seen on the AliExpress website. So love to hear what you have to say. Also check out my webpage, realidealgear.com. I will have more watches for sale. I keep saying it, but they will be showing up. I have just been so busy with work and family stuff that I just haven't had time. So maybe after the new year, I'm going to have a glut of watches that are going to go on there. I probably have about 30 watches I think I'm going to get rid of. There are going to be some Casios. There's going to be some mechanical watches. And honestly, most of them, I'm going to struggle to put them up because I really like the watch collection that I have right now. But it's just too big. So check it out more towards the end of this year, into the beginning of the next year in 2025. RealIdealGear.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.